Hey, what's going on, guys? And since Christmas is coming soon, within the month, we're gonna make a tier list on the older holiday units. And keep in mind for this tier list, I don't want to see you typing as quickly as possible. Why is this unit not higher or something? I'm gonna be listing them when they came out, of course, or when they were meta. So obviously, we're not gonna be ranking White Knight Noel in current year. That would not be that'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it? So White Knight Noel is definitely gonna go in the A tier. He was very solid on release, and then when he got those upgrades, he was even better. He could be like he was like a magic DPS almost, but also being a magic tank, so that's pretty good. Roselia is kind of weird, because on Global she's a 4-star, but on JP she's a 5-star, who's a lot better. I'm just going to put her in D. She was just an okay healer for that period, but easily passed on. June is going to go in the C tier, just a pretty decent fire DPS. Never really got what he needed. With the buffs that he got, I feel like they were just minor. He needed quite a bit more for him to help. Ling is going to go in S tier, obviously. It's pretty obvious thing. It was a whole Reddit meme where there was basically everyone doubted to pull for her, and then it was called the Ling effect, where like every clear back then, all those content creators back then were using Ling in all their clears, and everybody said, no, don't pull for her, she's not good. And then it turns out she was good. So ever since then, everybody started learning a lesson with the Ling effect there, not doubting every single unit that comes out. The Cupid units are gonna go in D tier. They were only useful for their TMRs. At least that's what I remember them for. I don't remember if they did anything useful. I only used them for the TMRs. Dameron's gonna go in S tier. He literally made clears possible that weren't even possible. If you don't know, in the 10-man trials, the 10-man trial one is the best example. The 10-man trials have some of, maybe all of them do, but I know specifically one of them had a threshold, but you could go over it with this guy, and then it wouldn't activate, or something along those lines. It basically allowed you to cheat the threshold, which was super crazy back then. So he's definitely going in S tier just because he made a lot of things possible that weren't actually possible, and counter damage back then was actually decent, unlike now where it does almost nothing. Unlike Rain, however, just like usual with last level units, the Dracula last level was just okay. His STMR was fine for back in the day, but he was really nothing special. He was just a chainer, and really not that great of a chainer anyways. The meme, the myth, the legend, Fina, the VLC Fina is gonna go in D tier as well, because I don't remember anything she does. I don't remember anything she even does besides the VLC meme where her hat was like the color of the VLC logo, and then they changed it. I mean, obviously it's a 3-star. She's going in D tier because you got so many of her, you didn't know what to do with her, pretty much. Sakura is gonna go. And I feel like she can't go in A tier because A tier is pretty high up there, but Sakura was a very good DPS, like a very good mixed DPS where she was very unique. I feel like she's still the most unique unit in the game, where she got different stuff for equipping, her is it TMR or an S TMR? I can't remember anymore. The Scythe, I think it's the TMR. It was pretty unique back then because she got Spirit and MP and stuff when you equipped that, so it was pretty different. Spirit, TDH, and all that kind of good stuff, so it was pretty interesting. Nicole's going to go in the C tier because he had that Mirage stacking that you could abuse, because it was on his LB, I believe. You could easily get away with doing it over and over again, so other than his TMR, which I think was okay back then, still, he was pretty decent. I literally don't even remember what this guy does besides his TMR, so he's going there. Christina is going to go in the A tier, very good ice DPS for back then, and of course when her New Vision Awakening came out it was really disappointing because it just wasn't up to par, but when she was a 5-star, she was pretty decent, unlike the story. The story that she came up with is obviously a meme, and everybody knows that. Alright, and Kryla is going to go in A tier, very, 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 very good breaker. Back then, had a lot of memes associated with her as well, with all the things that she could do with the Hex and all that kind of good stuff. Because back in the 5-star era, you could get away with doing more things than you can do now, where you can waste a turn doing something like a Hex and it will do something. Unlike nowadays, where you literally can't waste a turn doing anything foolish for the most part. Tinkerer, Carry, D tier, because all you used her for was her TMR. Yenna's gonna go in C tier because she does have some support. I used her support back in the day. It was actually pretty decent, so her support is not too bad. Chao is a good boy. He's going to S tier, not because he's a doggo, just because he was a very good magic tank when he came out. Very, very solid. Most people still use him, even after a lot of other magic tanks came out. People still use him just fine. So very nice. Aang, probably C tier, because he was a decent finisher, but we didn't, like, their finishers were really kind of just whatever at that point. I mean, you could use them now and again, but most ways chainers were much stronger with the support anyways, so I think he's okay there. This guy is gonna go in A tier. Very solid, different alternative magic tank. I believe that Cecil was already out. Cecil was dominating the magic tank meta, and then this guy came out, and then it was like, oh, there's this guy. Maybe we'll try him out. He's good. I don't think he's as good as Cecil. In my personal opinion, I feel like he's not as good as Cecil, but he is a very good alternative option. And I think we have two Liliths in here. This one is the newer one. I don't know if you can see it. You can see it on the screen. This one's the newer one. This one's the older one. I'm going to put Lilith in the S tier, the 5-star one. I think you guys all know why she's going in S tier. Tank in Arena, Cancer in Arena. Like, there's so many things to say about her when it comes to Arena, when it comes to doing all those kind of things. And also, 10-man trials was very helpful with that as well. Lucius is going to go in C tier. He was just an okay DPS. I mean, no one went crazy for him. You pulled him if you liked him, but it was just like, we'll just wait for the next thing. So, and then when his Neovision Awakening came out, it was basically the same thing. It was just a DPS. It was just okay. The people who pulled a lot of him now got a decent Neovision Awakening. Felix, he literally I'm gonna put him in D tier because he literally never had a chance to do anything. Like, he was a hybrid DPS that had barely any strong mods. He was a wonky hybrid DPS that barely did anything. His STMR was very good though. He was best in slot for quite a while, but the unit himself didn't really do anything. And I played during that time, of course, guys. I played during that time, so I know all of this stuff, guys. Is this there's two Tianas on here as well, I believe. Yeah, this is the older one here. This is the newer one. Good thing I ordered them like this, because I would be getting confused. Alright, so this Tiana... I think it'd be fair to put her in C. I think she was okay, but there were so many magic DPS out that it was just like... It was just another... Like, throw another log on the fire of magic DPS. They're just like her. Quinn, B tier. Pretty solid unit. Not much else to say about that, just a solid unit. And I'm going to put them in C tier because honestly I feel like they were holding them back quite a bit compared to the unit we'll be talking about shortly, who was way overblown. I think I'm pretty sure your eyes are already glued on that unit that I'm talking about next. That's going to be coming up soon. That unit is like, it was something else. But this one, I feel like they held back quite. I feel like this is the prototype of another unit we'll be talking about. And this is the 5-star Carton. I'm going to put him in S tier. We all know about him. The first turn one-hit KO strats, the one-shot strats with him and his cooldown. So very useful for many months. Even after he started falling off, people were still using him just fine. So Levinson, I think he can go in C tier. There's a lot of units that are going in C tier just because they were just okay. Like the C tier is they're just okay. They're not bad. It's just like there are so many other options. It feels like you just shrug your shoulders like, oh well, I didn't get them. You know, when you look at S tier, darn, I didn't get them, versus C tier, oh well, I didn't get them, kind of a thing, if you get what I mean. Oh god, I gotta talk about this. D tier. That's all I'm saying about that, just D tier. It's been a while since I've used him. Obviously, I think this is Fu, right? I'm gonna put him in B tier. Very solid back in the day when Evoker stuff was like bigger than it is now. He was like the king of Evoke stuff. Like, you finally had a use for that bar on the screen that glows yellow and you never use it for anything. There were so many things that you could do. It was different. It was interesting. Like, we don't get units like this anymore. Like, we just get, like, roles that are not DPS that become DPS, basically, for both versions. It's just like, oh, it's a support, but it still does DPS, and that's all they really do. We don't get units like that more. Like, Sylvie, I feel like Sylvie was probably one of the last ones that actually had any real, like, interest to them. Like, they actually had care built into them, and they were just built into a DPS, like everything else. Alright, here's my favorite unit of this whole list. They're going obviously in S tier. They literally made a meta. They literally, every other DPS had to bend the knee to this unit right here because they did more damage than anyone. They did more damage than a chainer and a finisher. They did more damage than literally anything else in the entire game. Just two of them. It was crazy. It's crazy that they made this unit. And the reason why they're so strong, guys, is because they were built off of Spirit. Similar to the 5-star, you know, Leela. The one that uses her, has claws, and you might have seen her. Might have pulled a few of her. Similar to that, but she was held back quite a bit, unlike this one. This unit is like if they didn't hold Leela back at all. Like, it's crazy how much damage they do. And the reason why, because back then, most bosses were having more defense than Spirit on them. So that's why they just one-shot, not one-shotted, but they basically annihilated all bosses very easily. It was amazing to see. Alright, this unit is going to go in C tier just because I don't remember really using them. On the JP version I use them quite a bit. I actually use them more on the JP version than on the global version, but they're okay. And obviously the GOATs, the healers, are going in S tier. Phenomenal STMR. That's why I showed in global. On JP they were okay too. They're STMR, but death immunity. That was almost unheard of, like, because you only had like one or two sources of death resistance on global, and now there comes this STMR that gives you death resistance. It was like a must-have, on top of being a very good healer. So on JP as well, they're really good too. They were a very good healer on JP as well. Ibarra, I think she was okay. I'm going to put her in B tier. She was very strong, but she was very wonky to gear for. And you can just tell, even if you're like a new player, you can just go look at her wiki page and just see, ignore the mods, because the mods back then were pretty decent. But just look at all the hearts, like you had to, it was like in reverse, like the Teach and Trudeau was like in reverse. The STMR was just not that great. It was kind of hard to build her, and now especially it's very hard to build her. So you can just tell that. This guy, I think I can't put him in B tier. Maybe I can. I don't know. I'll put him in B. Like, he's like holding on the cliff of B, basically, before falling into C. Because there was so much, like, he got so much on his kit, but I feel like he didn't do anything. Like, he had so much added to his kit. There's so many things that he can do, but he never really did anything, if you get what I mean. He just was kind of there. He had killers that he could give to people, but it was just like, eh. He did stuff. He did a thing. He was a thing, I guess. Shui Yui, I think it's fair to put her in B tier, and she's not falling off the cliff this time around, this unit. I think she was fine. Among the mix of a lot of Esper Evoker type units, I think she stood out because she was more interesting, because she had two sides of her where she was a magic DPS, and then she was an Evoke DPS too, so I think that was interesting. Another unit that I don't really want to talk about because they're bad on release, bad now, bad forever, Melia. Literally so bad. This is not how you do a spirit-based unit. Or whatever she was. I don't even remember. I think she was a spirit-based unit. This is just not how you do it. She was just bad. Carton is going to go... I can't put everybody in S tier, guys. I'm going to put him in A tier. I think it's fair to put him in A tier. I don't think he had as much... Like, he, of course, had as much of an impact as his 5-star form did, but back then, like, the 5-star Carton was literally showcased in every single video. Now, the New Vision Carton was basically used like for like one Clash of Wills and then maybe another one later down the road. But otherwise, I don't think he has much of an impact. You can disagree with me in the comments if you'd like, but I played during that time, and he was useful for like 1 or 2, maybe 3, generously. And I don't remember, however, like, the buffs that he got were okay, I guess. Tiana, Copium. This is gonna be Copium for me. I would like to put her pretty high because I like her. I like her Knee Vision form a lot better than her 5-star form, but let's be realistic. She's going in B tier, and she's the one holding on the cliff because her damage took forever to get online. Her LB did nothing. Like, I still don't understand what her LB was supposed to be doing. The one that does like all those elements. It was useful for like one. It was literally used for one Clash of Wills because it was weak against all those elements or something. But I don't know what they were thinking with her. Like, her damage ramping takes way too long. It takes several turns to get to the maximum stacks. So I don't know what they were thinking with that. This Chow, I think we could put. I think he's a very good, solid successor to the 5-star Chow. He did literally everything that Chow does. Obviously, his Brave Shift form was never used. To be fair, his Brave Shift form was garbage, but his people only cared about his base form, which was fair, because he made a whole meta out of countering in Clash of Wills to give you giant mountains of morale to a point where you didn't even care anymore. If you could get away with having Chow in Clash of Wills during that period of time, you win, because you win. It's like a I win button. Okay, I win. I have Chow on my team. I win. That's basically all that needs to be said. I win. Okay, the Knee Vision form Lilith. I think it would be fair, and I think most people can agree that it'd probably be between A and B. She did not do as much as her 5-star form did. She does have a lot of options, but I feel like some of them were kind of unnecessary. Like, she has other chaining things that she can do, but that were almost unnecessary. Could have done something else. I feel like she lost a lot of utility that she had in her 5-star form. When I was disappointed with, personally, when I saw her, because I loved the 5-star Lilith back in the day. I literally had her on every team that I had because of all the things that she could do, like status resist and all those other kind of things. I don't want to. It would take forever to list. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed by the Knee Vision version, but I still feel like she's solid. I feel like she's solid for when she came out. If you pulled her, you still got a very good tank, and all she had the Omni cover, which was very useful. And also the Dark Imbue on the boss thing was very helpful for quite a few bosses. So she carved her own little thing. To be fair, she did carve her own little place on the game. So I'll be fair with that. I'm not gonna, like, poop on her or anything. Tell her that she's awful. If you were expecting me to poop on all these units and say they were all bad or something, well, you can see that not all of them are in the D tier. There's just as many D tier units as there are C tier units. Ayaka is going to go in A tier. Very, 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 very good magic DPS. For the time, even, like, she was really, really good. Even now, like, people still talk about her and use her every now and then, I'm sure. So, a very solid magic DPS that had ramping, strong damage. Her 150% was on a damaging move, so you could actually get more out of it, which was good. And then we have Cleom, who's also going to go in A tier. She was the first leader skill unit on global, I believe, right? She was before Deus, or Dios, or whatever his name is on global, and just very good DPS, very good leader skill for that time period, and she could do a lot of things. So, or maybe was it Ibarra or is it her first? I can't remember now. It was quite a while ago. I can't remember if it was her. Maybe it was Ibarra. Whoops, it might have been Ibarra, not her, but she's still good. And then the new Chow. I mean, I already reviewed him. I actually do have one of him. I have never gotten to use him. I never play tested him, so I don't know exactly if he's completely useful or not, but I feel like he would probably go in A tier just because his damage is very high for now. His damage is very high for now. And then his leader skill, I believe, was quite good as well, right? That's my list. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Do you think that someone should be higher or lower? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to see all of your comments. This is a 20-minute video. Wow. I did not think it was going to be that long. So, appreciate you guys watching. If you watched all the way through, make sure to type in, well, whatever you like. I don't know. Hope that the Christmas unit's going to be good, I guess. Type in hashtag Christmas 2023, I guess. That's a keyword. I'll see you guys later. Peace.